call to order the Planning Commission meeting for October 12th, 2021. Roll call. Chair Simpson, I am here. Vice Chair Kai.
Here.
Commissioner Widola.
Present.
Commissioner Giles.
Here.
Commissioner Bantz is out of town, and I don't see that Commissioner Brown has joined the meeting yet. All right, and Councilor Scott, oh, there you are. Hey, I see you. All right, a consent agenda is our first agenda item, which is the approval of the September 14th Planning Commission work session and regular meeting minutes. And before we call for approval of the consent agenda, on packet page 8 on the minutes 5 of 5, it has Councilor Giles instead of Commissioner Giles.
Coming for my job.
Hey, I tried.
I don't know. Trying to figure out promotion, demotion, just a job change.
Depends on the day.
It does. Counselors have so much more weight to carry on their shoulders for sure. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All right. We'll take a roll call vote. I vote aye. Vice Chair Kai, do you approve the consent agenda as amended?
Aye.
Commissioner Widola?
Aye.
Commissioner Giles?
Approved.
All right, motion passes. Moving on to the council liaison announcements.
So I guess first and foremost, we have a new city manager, which I think I announced the hiring of Keith Campbell, new city manager, a couple sessions ago, but now he has officially started. So I believe he started last Thursday, I think was his first day. And so he's in place, and I'm sure getting up to speed and meeting with all of our wonderful staff and learning everything about Sherwood. So definitely keep your eye out for him and watch for him in meetings and around town and everything else. Secondly, if you haven't heard the news already, the Chief Growth has decided to retire. So he will be moving on into retirement, and the first major action of new city manager Keith Campbell's tenure will be to hire a new police chief, which is probably one of the most critical and important actions that any city manager can take during their tenure. So no pressure on Mr. Campbell there, but so those are probably the two biggest personnel notices that I want to make everyone aware of. Just from a city council perspective, we had a really good work session last week. We met about chicken code. So I think by general consent among the council, the takeaway was to ask staff to prepare an ordinance for review. I think it'll be very similar to the 2015 ordinance that was proposed but did not pass. There might be a few tweaks here and there. The council, I believe, does want an application / permit process, very small fee, but just to make sure that people get apply, get the understanding of the rules that they have to follow, and then we have a record of who has chicken permits and who doesn't. There was an open question at the end whether that had to cycle through planning commission or not, and I don't know that there's an answer to that yet, but maybe some staff on this call does.
I think, yes, I can answer that. I think there's a very minor change to Title 16. It's a footnote, and I believe we could probably make that change during like a regular update to Title 16. I don't think it's going to affect the chicken code language in the animal section of the
So
code.
then as I think council hoped, and I'm sure planning commission hopes, that sounds like this won't have to go through a planning commission hearing, which I think will be great for everyone. So that'll be coming our way then. And what else do we have going on? We're doing I think that's it. That's all I got. I don't know. That's enough. Carry on.
All right, carrying on. Thank you very much for the update. Staff announcements.
Yes, so I have a couple of staff announcements. My first announcement is to all the folks out there who are watching the Planning Commission this evening. We do have a vacancy on the commission. You can find our form online that you can fill out and email in if you're interested in serving on the commission. And I think our commission, we will, welcome everyone who applies. So I urge you to apply if you're interested. I just want to let everybody know that we have a online virtual open house online on the city's web page for the Sherwood West Relook project. So if you go to that project page, you will be sent to the online open house. You can take that, you can go through the open house and the online survey that's in that virtual open house. It's going to be open until Friday, October 22nd. And then the next Sherwood West Technical Advisory Committee meeting and Community Advisory Committee meeting will be held on November 3rd. And that packet of information will be up online a week prior to that meeting, which is, let's see here, October 27th. And I think that's it.
Okay. Sorry. Making a note of that because I'm supposed to be in attendance at that November 3rd meeting. Okay. Next are public hearings, and we have public hearings that require me to read. Oh wait, I missed community comments. Sorry, community comments. Pursuant to House Bill 4212, citizen comments and testimony for public hearings must be submitted in writing to planning@sherwoodoregon.gov. To be included in the record for this meeting, the email must clearly state that it is intended for citizen comment or it is intended for testimony for a public hearing, the specific public hearing topic for which it is intended, and in either case must be received at least 24 hours in advance of the scheduled meeting time. And I believe we have 2 community comments that Erica will read into our record for this evening.
Yep, so I sent these out to Planning Commission earlier today. So if you haven't read them, I'll just read them into the record right now. Our first public comment comes from Dave Sweeney. Dear Planning Commission members and staff, I'm writing you with a citizen's comment concerning the Brookman Road addition and Cedar Creek Garden development, and my concern is twofold. First, my neighbors and I are very concerned with the potential loss of some 70 to 80 giant Douglas fir cedar trees in a very narrow strip of land that is immediately adjacent to the south side of Arbor Lane subdivision. The strip runs directly behind the homes on Shady Grove Drive. From Brookman Road on east to Red Fern Drive on the west. The developer wants to build 3 houses on this land, but to do so, because the strip is so narrow, 50 feet, would necessitate destroying all of those giant trees, most of which are over 100 feet tall and most of which are over 100 years old. Many of those trees are actually over 160 years old, which means they predate the Civil War. Some of them, in fact, are older than both the establishment of Sherwood, 1853, and the establishment of the Oregon Trail, 1843. With all those giant, majestic, old-growth trees, that strip would make a wonderful natural park, which could include an extension of Arbor Lane Trail, which currently dead ends at the south of Red Fern. Saving that strip of land from development and preserving it in its natural park area allows it to be enjoyed by the entire neighborhood and indeed anyone who uses the trail system. It is extremely important to me and my neighbors that you do everything in your power to preserve and protect this beautiful piece of Sherwood's history and legacy. In short, I would like to put this on your radar as virtually the last stand of old growth trees in Sherwood and elicit your help in saving it. What a shame it would be to lose it. What a tragedy to see all the beauty and history destroyed for the sake of just 3 houses. Second, I would humbly suggest that the 2 currently unannexed 9+ acres of land immediately south of the Arbor Lane development, lots 106 and 105, I believe, offer the city of Sherwood a golden opportunity. If the city were to acquire those 2 parcels of land, those combined 18+ acres could be a crown jewel for the town in the form of a nature preserve and a natural park area or an environmental education center, or all 3. By connecting it to Sherwood's trail system, the area could be accessed and used by all of Sherwood's residents, and the educational opportunities would be unlimited. That land offers Sherwood a unique opportunity to enhance the health and well-being of all of its residents, as well as have a major impact on the education of every student that comes through the Sherwood school system. I believe there are many avenues of possible funding sources, not just the city, county budget, but also federal, state, and local grants, endowment programs, EPA grants, Natural Resource Conservation Service, local businesses and corporations, local service clubs and organizations, the Soil Conservation Board, and on and on. The point is that the city now has an opportunity to acquire a tract of land that could offer a plethora of benefits for all of its residents, and that to me is well worth considering. With so little green space available in Sherwood, it is my profound hope that we can preserve and protect as much of this beautiful and historic ground as we possibly can. We owe it to ourselves, our children, and to generations to come. Thank you very much for listening and for your thoughtful consideration. Yours sincerely, Dave Sweeney. The second citizen comment that we have tonight comes from Neil Shannon. My name is Neil Shannon, and I'm a resident of Sherwood. I would like to discuss parks in the Brookman Road development area. As I was reviewing my notes from the many times I have provided citizen comments over the past 14 years at open houses, public hearings, and comments before many meetings of the Parks Board and Planning Commission and City Council, I was reminded how often and how important the discussion of parks facilities were in the Brookman Road area. I can't count the number of times that I and many other citizens expressed our concerns regarding the establishment of parks in the Brookman Road concept plan. Even before there was a concept plan, then planning manager Julie Hayduk shared in a memo to the Planning Commission dated October 7, 2008, discussions with the Parks Board regarding recommendations for the establishment of an 8.29 acres for a community and neighborhood park for the 1,088 estimated households. Ms. Hayduk stated during discussions with the Planning Commission May 13, 2008, that there had originally been a park shown off of Lad Hill, but that was a lot of public testimony saying that they thought it was a bad spot and that it would be more appropriate located in the area of the Redfern connection. I think that it was best put in a letter dated August 19, 2008 from the attorneys of Miller Nash representing Brown, D. Harport, Robinson, and Roth, the owners of the property directly east of Brookman Road, that noted the optimal location of a new park is in that area where distinct and valuable natural resources and features already exist that can then form the basis of a park and give it its own identity. In addition, they went on to note that the most obvious is the area in the east sub-area of the concept plan that encompasses several tributaries of Cedar Creek and includes a relatively intact mature forest, the Cedar Creek Natural Area. Fast forward to today, the recently adopted Parks Master Plan engaged the citizens of Sherwood, asking them to provide input and ideas for the future. The number 1 and number 2 key responses were connected trails for walking, biking, and running, 336 positive responses, and access to nature, wildlife, and scenery, 223 positive responses. The Parks Master Plan also provided key strategies and action to implement the plan, including Strategy D1, secure the planned parks and natural areas in the Brookman area, and natural area guidelines to protect natural resources, habitat corridors, and ecosystems, and provide opportunities for interaction with nature. In 2 weeks, this board will be acting on the final draft of of the City of Sherwood 2040 Comprehensive Plan. As noted in the plan, the Healthy and Value Ecosystems theme explores the topic of parks, recreation, natural resources, and environmental quality. This theme complies with Goal 5, Natural Resources, Goal 6, Air, Water, and Land Resource Quality, Goal 8, Recreational Needs, and Goal 13, Energy Conservation. I would like to remind you of one of the principles of Policy 2.3, which is to enhance existing natural assets and integrate green spaces and parks into new development. 2 weeks ago, I and fellow citizens of Sherwood provided citizen comments to the Parks Board expressing our concerns for parks within the Cedar Creek Natural Area. The board was very supportive of our proposals and will pass that supporting message on to the City Council and to you. Soon, we can anticipate an application for a subdivision for Cedar Creek Garden that includes a small but critical portion of the Cedar Creek natural area running between Redfern Drive and Brookman Road. The Planning Commission and planning staff have decision-making authority over this proposed subdivision. It is my hope that this area, as stated in the Code of Ordinances, Division 3, 16.142-070 D4E, tree retention, otherwise merit retention because of unusual size, size of the tree stand, historic association of species type, habitat, or wildlife preservation considerations, or some combination thereof as determined by the city. Failure to act soon will be a lost opportunity for the city to preserve some of the last of Sherwood's old growth forest and some of the trees almost 200 years old and predating the Oregon Trail, the Civil War, or even statehood. And that concludes Mr. Shannon's comment for this evening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for citizen comments, it's awkward because we cannot discuss a matter that fully that has not been properly noticed according to the Oregon public meeting laws. But we can, as a commission, bring it back to a further agenda item or pass it on to a staff member or council for further follow-up. And since this is going to be coming to us, it sounds like in a hearing, it would be even further inappropriate for us to discuss matters of a pending application if there is such an application that's been submitted. To bring it back to us for discussion, Erica, do you have any recommendations on how we would properly notice that for discussion if it was the commission's desire? And what action could we possibly do? It seems like preservation of land is a council determination because they have the authority to leverage funds, where we as a commission can only follow the rules that they've set forth.
Great. Those are all great comments, Commissioner Simpson. So right now, I just want to let the commission know that we have not received a land use application for the subdivision at this time. Mm-hmm. We do anticipate, receiving an application. I don't know when it's going to come in or not. Depending when it comes in, could affect a future date talking about this subject. But if we wanted to put something on the next meeting, or I can confer with Eugene here in the next week to see where we are at in receiving an application, we can definitely discuss it at the next meeting if you would like.
Oh, I guess it's twofold. One is I'm not sure if the commission can actually take any actionable items, since this appears to be like a council agenda item if they were to reserve funds to acquire land or otherwise preserve private land, change that. So
yeah, and with this comment, the commission can definitely make a recommendation to forward this on to council. Mm-hmm. As well.
Okay. If the council hasn't already been copied, so do we need to bring that back as a next agenda item, or do we just take a consensus vote to ensure that it's forwarded on to council for their attention?
You can take a consensus vote. Mhm.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion from the commission to forward these citizen comments up to council for their direction to either the commission, the Parks Board, or their own authority to take further action if they deem it necessary.
I so move.
I'll second.
Do I have to repeat the whole thing? Okay.
No, because I don't know if I could repeat the thing that I just said.
No, but
But
I agree.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we forward the citizen comments heard this evening regarding the old growth area in the Brookman concept plan area to City Council for their further discussion and direction. All right, we'll take a consensus vote. Chair Simpson, aye. Vice Chair Kai.
Aye.
Commissioner Widola.
Aye.
Commissioner Giles.
Aye.
All right, thank you, and thank you for reading all the citizen comments, and I really appreciate the citizens taking the time to put forth all that information, because without other people getting involved and telling us what's going on, you can't know everything that's going on. So it's really a pleasure to have citizen comments come in that we can hopefully make a change and make a difference. So thank you. All right. Moving forward to public hearings. Our first public hearing is case file LU 2021-009 Cedar Creek Multifamily Development. And I'm going to read the public hearing script. The public hearing on LU 2021-009 Cedar Creek Multifamily Development is called to order. To maintain compliance with public meeting laws and pursuant to House Bill 4212, this meeting is being conducted electronically. The public notices for this meeting stated that citizen comments and testimony for this public hearing item had to be submitted in writing at least 24 hours in advance in order to be included in the record. The public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present the staff report, questions, if any, by the hearing body. Then we will open the public hearing for testimony, and time will be limited as follows. Applicant 30 minutes, split between presentation and rebuttal. Public testimony submitted in advance in writing. Rebuttal from the applicant. Final comments by staff. Questions of staff, if any, by the commission. We will then close the public hearing. No other comments will be heard from the public or the applicant. Discussion by the commission. A decision may be made by the Planning Commission at the close of the hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this will be the only notice of that date you receive. And as this is quasi-judicial in reaching a decision on the application, the commission must consider whether the application meets the relevant approval criteria in the city's land use regulations. Those criteria are identified in the staff report, which was included in the materials for this meeting posted on the city's website. Please note, failure to raise an issue with enough detail to enable the commission, the applicant, and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issues precludes an appeal to the City Council or Land Use Board of Appeals on this issue. And as this is a development application, the Planning Commission is the final authority, with appeals being held by the City Council. Failure by the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues regarding proposed conditions of approval, again with enough detail to allow the commission to respond to the issue, precludes an action for damages in circuit court. At this time, I will take a roll call to ask members of the commission to ask the members of the commission to disclose any ex parte contacts, bias, or conflicts of interest. Please state none or indicate the nature and extent of the ex parte contact, bias, or conflict of interest, and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. And I will start. I've had, since our last meeting where this hearing item was continued, I've had no Ex parte contact, I have no bias or conflict of interest. Vice Chair Kai,
Same for me. None, and I plan to participate.
Commissioner Widola,
None.
Commissioner Giles.
I've had none and plan to participate.
All right. Moving forward. Miss Erica, are you going to read the letter?
I am passing this off to Eric Rutledge, Associate Planner, who's been project lead on this project.
I did not know Mr. Eric was with us this evening, so welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Simpson and Planning Commissioners. Yeah, happy to be here. I think it'll be another brief meeting tonight. But yeah, hopefully everyone saw in the packet, there was a request for a continuance from the applicant to a date certain of December 14th, 2021. So I guess that'd be your first meeting in December. And we also did receive the 120-day clock extension for the same amount of time, 63 days to March 2nd, 2021. And it sounds like the applicant is still working with the other property owners in the Cedar Creek Plaza development to really clarify their parking requirements and the parking agreement within the development. So staff is supportive of that. Would love for the property owners sort of work on that prior to coming to the hearing. So staff is supportive of the continuance as well.
So before I entertain a motion, I want to ensure that the date certain continuance to December 14th doesn't conflict with any other hearings and or attempts to not have. I know we are attempting to not have Planning Commission hearings or meetings, the second meeting in November and the second meeting in December. So are we able to continue to December 14th and still accomplish all the other meeting agenda items on that date?
Erica, do you want to take that one?
So far, yes. We do have two public hearings scheduled for November 9th. And if those two hearings, or if one of those hearings is continued, Planning Commission could continue it to December 14th. So, I want to say that in the worst case scenario, you could have 3 public hearings that night. In the best case scenario, you would just have one commission meeting on December 14th, or one public hearing on December 14th.
But the other 2 hearings that potentially would be on December 14th would be continued hearings where we would have already had the staff report and the applicant report. So we would just potentially be doing a wrap up of a continued hearing. And potentially at that time, we could continue the November hearing to the first meeting in January also, as long as we're not. All right, so I don't want to plan to not have those 2 meetings and then get ourselves so booked up that we don't have time to do it. So if we have any other continuances, we need to toll the 120 days in mindfulness of the holiday schedule. So they would, instead of, if we delay it 30 days and we look at our calendar and it's a holiday, we maybe ask the applicant to toll 45 days. So if the November ones get wonky and we have to toll them, let's toll them and add grace for the holidays. So, all right. So with that being said, I think Vice Chair Kai, there was official language sent out last time we had to do continuance with tolling. I don't know if anybody or everybody has that language to be able to make a motion.
Last time I used the appropriate motion in the sample motions that we have. So
all right,
we should be fine. Eric, I just want to confirm. So in the motion, I'll be continuing to December 14th, 2021, not March 2nd, 2022, correct?
Correct. December 14th, 2021.
Okay. I move the Sherwood Planning Commission continue the public hearing on the application for Cedar Creek multifamily development, project number LU 2021-009, major modification, until December 14th, 2021, at the request of the applicant.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we continue LU 2021-009 major modification Cedar Creek multifamily development to December 14th and accept the applicant's tolling of the 120 days. Any discussion? I will take a roll call vote. Vice Chair Kai,
Aye.
Commissioner Widola,
Aye.
Commissioner Giles,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion passes. And we are continued. So we were sent a very large packet. Is that in addition to the other very large packet that's still in one of the blue bags that I've absconded with at this point?
Another very large packet. Did something else go out?
Yeah,
with-
this much paperwork.
Yeah, I think the EOA was.
Oh,
No.
okay.
too.
No, this is the EOA and this is the packet for that application.
Yeah.
So,
So I think that was it was sent twice.
so this is the same as what we had before.
There's nothing new that's been passed on to you guys, I don't think so.
Okay. So we just need to keep one set of the paperwork and we can keep the original that's in the blue bag, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, once I read the email that said it was going to be continued, I didn't go back and reread 300 pages of paperwork, so. All right, excellent. Moving on my agenda items to public hearing item B, and this is a legislative item. And I need to read this public hearing script again. Modified. The public hearing on LU 2021-019 PA Economic Opportunities Analysis is called to order. To maintain compliance with public meeting laws and pursuant to House Bill 4212, this meeting is being conducted electronically. The public notices for this meeting stated that citizen comments and testimony for this public hearing item had to be submitted in writing at least 24 hours in advance in order to be included in the record. The public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present the staff report, questions if any by the hearing body. Then we will open the public hearing for testimony. At that time, time will be limited as follows. Applicant 30 minutes, split between presentation and rebuttal. As previously noted, public testimony for this hearing was required to be submitted in advance in writing. Rebuttal from the applicant is the remainder of the 30 minutes. Final comments by staff is 15 minutes. Questions of staff, if any, by the commission. We will then close the public hearing. No other comments will be heard from the public or the applicants. Discussion by the commission. The Planning Commission's role in this hearing is to make a recommendation to City Council, and City Council is the final authority, the final decision maker, with appeal to LUBA. A decision may be made by the Planning Commission at the close of this hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this will be the only notice of that date you receive. I do not have to read anything else because it is not quasi-judicial. I will just say, Erica, Take it away.
Thank you, Chair Simpson. So staff tonight, we are actually we are requesting a continuance from the commission on this public hearing matter to our next hearing, which is on October 26th. And staff, we are requesting this continuance because on September 14th, we had a work session on this updated EOA, where during that work session, it was brought to light that the employment forecast for the 20-year planning period actually had fallen from the 2018 number. So with that information and kind of response that we had received from the commission that evening, staff, we went back and had a conversation with our Department of Land Conservation and Development folks and their Goal 9 specialist, which is their economic development specialist at the state of Oregon, to see what we could do to bump that employment forecast number, back up to the 2018 percentage or even higher, based on some justifications that we are seeing in our economic development activities that are happening in Sherwood currently. So we had that conversation with agency staff at the state, and we came to the conclusion that we could probably justify that employment forecast percentage to be higher, which is actually great news. But with that news, we have to update our tables and some language in that EOA. And so we just need to make those changes and bring that back to the commission on October 26th.
And the October 26th is where we're doing the residential design standards. Do we have any other hearings that night?
We do. So that is a very busy night for the commission. So we have 3 public hearings scheduled for that night. All are legislative in nature, so they don't run up against the 120-day, time clock. We have the residential design standards that night. We have the updated EOA. And we also have the comprehensive plan as well.
That seems to be a lot to have on one evening. Is there a reason why the economic opportunities analysis has to be only the 26th? Oh, because we already have 2 hearings on the 9th of November.
Right, and remember the EOA is just an update. So it's really those, the employment forecasts that we're really focusing on, as well as, some of the tables that, talk about, the land development for the different acreages of parcels actually are decreasing in Sherwood, which is excellent news on the economic development side of things. So the EOA is all information that you've already have seen over the past couple of years. And the policies and direction in the EOA are actually incorporated into the comp plan document itself. So it's all information that you've seen over the past couple of years. So I don't anticipate a lot of questions, and I haven't received any public comment yet for the EOA as well.
Okay, I think it's, I don't know if Commissioner Giles or Commissioner Bance had seen the EOA at all. I'm just saying, workload-wise, you're going to give out 500 pages for the commission to read and vote on, at least, based on how thick the EOA is, how thick the comprehensive plan update is, and how the residential design standards. I understand that we've seen all of it regularly, but I don't know. I'd like to hear from another commissioner. I'm hearing, wide eyes because, well, first off, from Erica, what's the driving force to make this do this, would our commission prefer to have a second meeting in November so that we are not killing ourselves October 26th, or not giving something its due time because we are feeling the pressure to close a meeting by 10 o'clock at night, which
remember, you can always continue, a public hearing if it gets to be, too late in the evening because it's legislative.
well, I don't want to continue the residential design standards any longer. I would like to get those implemented and get them to council as soon as possible. I don't know what their hearing date is for that, but
So, Gene, is it possible? I don't know if this is legal or not, but can I see a Word document that just has the changes turned on some of these? Because I know I've read through some of these a lot. And so if I only had to read the things that have changed since the last time, that might help me get through that amount of material.
And we did send out that material this afternoon, and it's color coded in such a way where you can see what the council will be recommending to council. It's everything in blue for your information.
That's the residential design standards. We
Right.
still have to address the EOA part of this is 86 pages of what you sent out. That's going to be revised before our next meeting. So I hear what Commissioner Giles is saying. We have 86 pages of EOA. Can you send out track change?
Yes.
Point A to point B so that the EOA is track change only?
Yes, I can definitely do that because it's just going to be a couple of tables.
Okay, so and then the comprehensive plan, has the commission seen the final comprehensive plan draft in a printed form?
I believe so. I do know that it is up on the website now, the final draft.
The paper, in paper, printed form.
I think so. I have to go back and ask Colleen if she sent it out. I can't remember, but I believe we did.
Has anybody recalled seeing the final comp plan, the prettied up version of it in? Not hearing a lot of, yeah, we remember getting it.
It might be in my email. I honestly would have to go look through it. I know I've seen a printed version. I thought that was, I don't think that was the final one.
Yeah, we've had so many versions of it, it's hard to.
But I also would hate to reprint it if it is, so.
Yeah. Oh, Commissioner Wydola is a little organized.
It's about 60 pages, and if the commission didn't receive it over the past couple of weeks, I can definitely print it out tomorrow and send it out.
How are we going to know if it's the most recent version? Is there a versioning? May 1st? That seems old.
That is very.
Okay, hold on.
So from a process standpoint or a timing standpoint, I believe that residential design standards needs to move forward. EOA needs to move forward before the comprehensive plan. So there might be a possibility if you guys are feeling completely overwhelmed with the amount of work to potentially, either plan now or know that it's okay to continue the comp plan hearing. I mean, we don't want to continue to push that one out too far either, but that might be an option, right, Erica?
Yeah, yes. It helps to know what
order.
The order, the economics opportunity needs to be pushed forward to gain something. We need to use it for, we need to adopt it before we can adopt the comprehensive plan, is my understanding. Correct?
Correct. And so the order of operations for October 26th for the agenda, it could look like the residential design standards would be the first hearing, the second hearing would be the EOA, and then the third hearing could be the comprehensive plan, which if needed, we could continue to a date certain.
I do. I do economic opportunities analysis first, just because I think if it's as you say it is, just a couple of charts and graphs, we could be done.
Yep.
In short order and not have to push ourselves on anything else. So I am not finding what I have for comprehensive plan is I still have lines and a whole bunch of changes, and the policy numbers were things weren't numbered, and I'm not seeing where I have something that is what I've seen online.
Great. Well, I will make sure that tomorrow everybody gets a copy of draft number 3, which is online.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And so with that in mind, the Planning Commission feel like attempting to tackle 3 kind of big deal legislative items at our next hearing. If so, we'll entertain a motion to accept staff's request to continue the EOA to our next meeting.
I'm okay with that. I'd rather power through than try to squeeze a meeting in at the end of November. So
Do we need a motion?
I move that we postpone it till our next meeting, October 26th.
Second.
Okay, sorry, I just lost the thing. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we continue LU 2021-019 PA Economics Opportunity Analysis to October 26th. All right, roll call vote. Commissioner Simpson, yes. Vice Chair Kai.
Yes.
Commissioner Widola.
Yes.
Commissioner Giles.
Yes.
All right, so moved. We will be very legislatively discussing many items at our next meeting. So if there's anything that can be sent to us earlier than later, I know it sounds insane, but you know, when you get stuff on Tuesday night, Wednesday, and it's as comprehensive as this is, it's a lot. So if we could have, like you said, the comp plan version 3 will be printed and delivered to all our houses tomorrow-ish.
Yes, and we can do the same for the residential design standards. We sent those out electronically today, but we can definitely print paper copies for everyone as well and get those out to you tomorrow.
Are the residential design standards in final draft, or is Joy still making changes?
They're in final draft form.
So the questions that she asked us tonight about roof materials and yard landscaping, I'd rather wait a day or two and have those final. I don't want to get a final edit and then have edits on top of it. I'd rather wait 2 days and have whatever we just discussed. I think it was pretty significant. My recollection was the mayor was pretty certain that setbacks should not be part of the PUD process, and I would like clarity that the council's direction was not just all setbacks versus side yard setbacks. And then I made a comment before about the lot sizes.
I can speak to that first one.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Councilor Scott. Thank you.
It was the idea to not have any variance or exception to setbacks only applied to side yards.
It did? Okay, good.
Yes, council was comfortable with the 5% and 10% on front and back. It was just the side yard where we wanted to not allow it.
Okay.
We felt very strongly about the 5 foot being an absolute 5 foot and not, oh, let's squish it down by 6 inches or, you know, so that was it.
Okay, thank you for that. That just saves a lot of time. All right, cool. All right. It doesn't have it, but I was going to make one more commission announcement. this is just an FYI that I know staff is working on, and it's just as a commission, we're kind of we have to be the lay person to the rest of the citizens of Sherwood for what's going on in the community. And I drove past an application sign for a project that's on Tonquin Road. And if you attempt to find that on the city website, it is impossible. The land use item number, what you couldn't search by that. I think the staff has fixed that, so now it's searchable by the 2021-14, but you had to know it was care construction, and then the pin that was supposed to be identifying it wasn't identifying it at all. It was over by the middle school. So I just say that to the rest of my commissioners to say, sometimes what I try and do is try and act as a layperson to see, hey, if I were just walking down the street, could I find this information? And I actually threw out a suggestion that hopefully staff's going to be able to incorporate, is putting the QR codes on our public notice signs so that people going by don't have to try and remember what the project number is, or try and figure out who the owner is to try and find it on the website, and that a QR code would link it. There's been other times that I've gone to the website and it's been years in the past where our meeting packet was missing. It's like, oh, wait, we have a meeting coming up and citizens can't find it. So when you guys are out just, poking around the website or trying to find something, Erica and Julia are fabulous for hearing concerns and making it user friendly. And I know Erica, poor Erica, she's gotten 3 or 4 emails from me going, I still can't find it.
And we finally fixed it. So it was a back end problem with the open space map platform app that we have embedded in the city's website. And so the solution in this situation is that we took off the location pin, but we added a vicinity map to the project files that somebody could click on really quick to see where the project is located.
Okay. And I think it's still important to have the map where someone could look at the city of Sherwood and find it and point to something and be able to connect to it. But in the interim, until that can be fixed, I think the other issue was that there was no address for this particular lot yet, and so they didn't have a way to put it on a GIS map, I'm assuming, because there was no thing. So I just, if I were not involved in the planning commission and had, Erica's, desk number memorized to be able to get a hold of her, I think a citizen would have felt lost or not been able to reach out like we would like them to. So as you're making your way through some of these projects, let's always try and remember the layperson who is still trying to figure their way through the community. So there you go. All right, any other planning commissioner announcements for this evening? All right.
I volunteer to be the layperson guinea pig because I still barely feel like I know what's going on. So I will. I'll look at those signs for you.
Well, you asked very good questions. So I think that we have a really good commission where people ask such good questions, and it drives our commission conversations in such good directions. So.
And frankly, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I would like to reply back to both those citizens that wrote in that sound like they know the code and all the others to apply for spots on the commission. So we have some openings, and it sounds like you know what you're talking about, so come on board.
There you go. That's fabulous. All right, are there any other commissioner announcements? We'll save time tonight, leave early so we can work late next meeting, right?
Sounds good.
All right. If there's no other announcements or information, we'll go ahead and adjourn. All right, hearing none, we will